Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going in Raw's special breaking edition.
Report.
Larson,
What?
it has been broken by Ronda Rousey. Wrestling is scripted.
It's non-news, man.
It's fake.
That's non-news.
I had no idea. Oh, dear.
Oh, man.
Wow. In a profanity.
It's like you just learned that Santa Claus wasn't real.
In a profanity-laden vlog bit.
What do you call it on Twitter?
Shit vlog.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
It was a shit vlog. So the funny thing is, it was... So, on RondaRousey.com, where, among other things, she sells her own WWE merchandise that's, like, really poorly done.
Yeah.
She also posts, and on her YouTube channel, vlogs about a day in the life of Ronda Rousey.
And this one was a day in the life of Ronda Rousey in Philadelphia. They had her and Natalia eating some cheesesteaks.
Right? Correct?
That's all really quality content right there. And at the end...
It was like one of our Chicago. It's like our Chicago vlog.
It's like we just go somewhere and eat. At the end, though... someone off camera asks her about the segment on Raw to close, and she goes on a profanity-laden tirade about, oh, I'm tired of doing their acting anymore. I'm not there to entertain. I'm tired of entertaining. I want to do what I want to do. And then here's the thing.
Hold on a second. Was this not the most later career Dirk Diggler vlog?
Yeah, it totally is.
You've ever seen?
It totally was. It totally was. I don't know. I was watching it and it's like, okay, it's blatantly obvious. Here's the thing. They're doing the Brock Lesnar thing, but just going the one step further. Brock Lesnar.
Yes, that's correct.
They never say so much that he could beat up anybody in the ring. They strongly infer it. They strongly infer that he has zero respect for the industry, and they flat out say he's in it for the money.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at the finish to his Orton match at SummerSlam where he busted him open, as evidence that, hey, look, they're trying to portray Brock as a guy who can beat up anybody. We just saw that quick little bit where he threw the Universal title at Vince after Mania. Like, that's supposed to be a shoot thing. That was the most work thing in the universe.
Yeah.
Look, he has no respect for the business.
Yeah. They're
doing this with Ronda now, except they're just flat out saying wrestling is fake. It's scripted. I have no respect for this industry. And like, I'm not a traditionalist by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to wrestling. I don't feel like kayfabe has to be necessarily protected.
Yeah, we're big Joey Ryan fans.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sorry. Did you see the Zicky Dice thing where he pooped in his pants?
Yeah.
Tried to put it in Leva.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It was great. There's no shitstorm over that, and yet everybody crapped all over the Priscilla Kelly thing.
Yeah. So, watching this, it was a bit cringy on several levels.
It wasn't a bit cringy.
It was a lot cringy.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like it's terribly clever. It's like the most ham-fisted way of trying to get heat. Like, it's one thing to say, I don't respect your industry. I can beat up anybody, which opens up a whole other thing in terms of the character stuff. We'll get to that in a second. But, gosh, I lost my train of thought. It's just, I don't know. I just kind of watched it and it's like, okay, so what? I don't really care. I don't care.
I'll put it this way. Number one, like there's two things. There's like our own personal thoughts about it, but then there's like how it affects the general wrestling landscape, which is kind of more important. My own personal thought on it was, well, it definitely left me with something. It was cringy, but then when you step back from it and you think, man, that's kind of interesting because it is the Brock thing, but kicked up way further. I am my thing is, and your thing has always been process. I am very curious because here's the thing. There was also an article that was published yesterday on WWE.com, which was obviously a nod to what was coming because I think that article was published first.
Yeah, it was like yesterday afternoon.
And within the first couple sentences, there was in italics the word explicit. And I was just thinking to myself, well, that's just search engine optimization, right?
Yeah,
they're obviously...
Well, the whole thing was about her. She wasn't going to be a team player anymore. She's going to not follow the rules.
So they knew this was coming. And the fact that they used kind of, not even in the most appropriate manner, the word explicit, which is probably going to be a search term that people are going to be using for Ronda Rousey. Perhaps, maybe. makes me think that they knew this was coming. This was, I'm not going to say necessarily greenlit. That's going to be the interesting thing, because we heard from multiple sources, Sean Ross Sapp, Diva Dirt, multiple sources, that WWE was not happy with the foul language that was being used in the Twitter exchange. And now here's this video, which is far and away worse than that.
Yeah.
I guess the interesting thing will be, how did this come to play?
Yeah, I don't know.
It did generate a hell of a response.
It did, and I don't think we really want to get into is Ronda really upset at Becky stuff anymore, because at this point it's kind of immaterial, because whether she was or not, whether it was a work from the get or there was any sort of shoot element to their Twitter beef, at this point they're exploiting the heck out of it,
right? Yeah,
for their own benefit. So I'll use this as an example. So twice within the last few months, news is broke on wrestling internet, and pretty quickly WWE jumped on the news for their own benefit. Dean leaving and Ciampa's injury.
Yeah.
Within a matter of official reports coming out that Dean was on the way out and Ciampa had to go undergo surgery, in a matter of hours, they were on it, releasing their own stories, which they normally would not do.
Yeah.
That seems to be the new MO of WWE, is like, oh, there's news breaking on wrestling internet. We need to take advantage of that search traffic. We need to start capitalizing on it immediately, whether it affects storylines or not.
I do wonder, you have to wonder if, because, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's necessarily coincidental that this might lend some evidence to the idea that the McMahon shakeup, as it pertains to, we see where the ratings are headed. Not obviously, look, obviously we're not the authority, but there might have been a change in direction with how they handle certain things that blow up in wrestling internet.
Yeah.
And because they haven't, before the beginning of the year, they weren't doing this. And that's when the McMahon shakeup, that's when the ratings dropped to a low.
Yeah.
And they started changing things up creatively, which did cater a bit more to the internet wrestling community. I mean, what have we been complaining about the entire time? They bury the Revival. Who's the tag team champions right now? The Revival.
Yeah, they're still kind of buried.
People, we love NXT. We got the 4 top NXT call-ups. We got 6 other NXT call-ups, all which are kind of scrubs, and they haven't done anything with it. Look, regardless of whether or not it's been executed well, there has been a change in several aspects of the WWE, and they all kind of shift towards acknowledging internet wrestling, you know?
I was going to say
Wrestling
earlier,
internet.
that kind of I found least effective about this whole thing is that it's just a new way kind of to get cheap heat. And she even references the classic way to get cheap heat, which is talk trash about a city sports teams.
So you mentioned here in your notes that Wrestling Observer newsletter mentioned that the WrestleMania result largely depends on Rousey's final date with the company. I kind of wonder if Rousey...
Well, here, before we get to that, let's conclude with that, because I think that's a good kind of point to wrap it up. Because there's 2 questions that obviously popped in my mind after watching this. And I actually watched it twice. I slept on it before writing these 2 questions down. First of all, what's her character's motivation? Because she says none of this stuff is scripted. Guess what? This is all, if not scripted, at least bullet points and greenlit by WB. So there's no shoot aspect to any of this. That's what I thought was funny when she said, she goes on about wrestling being scripted and fake. And I said I'd go out there and kick Rebecca Quinn's ass if I saw her again. And that's what I did. Mm-hmm. It's like, you see what Becky's face looked like after one punch from Nia Jax? Mm-hmm. And Ronda's supposed to unleash this shoot beatdown. And Becky looks fine. It's like, okay, yeah, look, I really kicked her ass. No, you didn't. That was all worked.
Yeah. No, the entire thing.
Here's the thing. It feels like they're going halfway. Anyway, I'll get to this. This is my second question.
Well, she's not actually going to go out there and blow your nose.
I know, but that's kind of... Anyway, we'll get to that later. What's her character's motivation? She's not there to entertain. She said that. She made reference to making WWE money, but not herself. At least Brock, we know clearly what his motivation is. He likes money. He likes money.
So I can dive into that. I think I can dive into that.
You can infer it's monetary gain based on the fact that she's making a lot of money for the company.
Well, I think her motivation, if you take a look at, I think she's using, and I guess I suppose I'll defend this creative at this point, because I can I see the answers to these questions, or at least the first one. She's using the Survivor Series, the LA crowd, the people dumping on her.
No, I get my question is not her motivation for the heel turn. I understand that completely. Okay. What's her motivation for sticking around?
Well, she's making a lot of money and she's there.
But she didn't say that.
Well, she is making a lot of money.
No, I know that. We know that. We know that.
Yeah.
But if she's not there to entertain and she doesn't say, well, at least I'm making money off this. I texted you this last. That's what I just said. I just said that.
Yeah.
This is what I feel like, especially with her last line saying, "None of these bitches can fucking touch me." The end.
Yeah.
And I told you this last night. It feels like the way she's approaching this, and this can be me, because when I saw this, like, oh wow, I just instantly think of her losing UFC now because she said that. You know, it feels like I had an instance where I was playing rec league baseball, where we're a bunch of 30-somethings.
Yeah, that's okay.
We're a bunch of 30-somethings who at best played high school.
Yeah, and there's one guy out there that.
And there was one guy who someone knew who apparently had just gotten cut from a AAA team.
Oh wow, yeah.
And so we're out there, and I'm hitting leadoff. And this guy's throwing gas. I'm talking 90s.
Yeah.
Which is way out of the norm in this league.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, that's weird. Maybe he's just,
You guys wear helmets?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Of course. Yeah, it's baseball.
I think I'll reach for your head.
This isn't the 1930s, man.
Well, it's rec league, though. It's rec league.
No, you wear helmets. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe he just called in. That's weird. Why would you want just, stepping off the plane, I'm guessing, from getting cut from AAA, why would you want to come out and play rec league with a bunch of scrubs? Anyways, regardless.
Yeah, rec.
So, of course, as predicted, as one would predict, he's dominating all the scrubs. And then fourth, fifth inning, a call doesn't go his way.
Yeah.
So after he finishes his half inning, he goes and packs his stuff up and leaves, storms off.
That's awesome. That's my new favorite baseball player.
So it's like, it felt like to me, I just got cut. My fragile ego is hurt. I need to come in here and dominate a bunch of scrubs so I feel better about myself. When she concluded with this, that's exactly how I felt. I got my ass handed to me my last 2 or 3 fights in the UFC, so I'm going to come to WWE and show them who's the boss, who's really tough. And it's like, she's a trained fighter, championship level. No one else in WWE in the women's division is a trained fighter.
I can kind of... I think that might be reading a bit much into it.
Oh, it totally could.
But I can see what you're saying, and I guess, like, for me to make sense of it, I would probably pivot to, because I just want to try to make sense of it.
Yeah, me too.
I can probably pivot to, she came here to make money, have a good time, and live out a dream of pro wrestling. And
the dream's been shattered. She's not having a good time, but she's still making money.
And in the end, these people think they can talk this stuff about me. Well, no, listen, okay, everybody, let's stop joking around. I could actually wreck you, right? Which is kind of also the Brock Lesnar thing.
It is, but at the end of the day, I know what Brock's getting out of it, other than just the satisfaction of beating people up.
Yeah, yeah.
And technically speaking, I guess Brock did win his last UFC fight, although, it was assisted, apparently.
Yeah. Also, I'm still curious how much diverticulitis...
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, I wonder how much further he could have gone if it wasn't for that.
I know, me
Gee
too.
Whiz.
I know. Totally. So that's just one question. And you can easily read between the lines that she's making money for herself, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But at least in Brock's case, it's pretty front and center why he's there.
I thought, one of the sillier aspects of it was I went out there and that wasn't a promo. They gave me stuff to say and I didn't say it. And yet she still basically begged Stephanie for her title back. She said, I didn't want to drop the title. And then she went on that Micro Machines run, which was really silly and hokey. So, yeah, I don't know. I do kind of like, if we fast forward to the end now, where I do kind of wonder how much of this really sharp heel turn stuff is her as a way to save Grace from tapping out. If you go in there like thinking that you're a good guy, hey everybody, oh, don't you love me? And then people start cheering when you get tapped out, you feel like an asshole, I would speculate.
I don't know.
If you go in there,
entertainment, so.
Okay, well, somebody who, according to Misha Tate, who apparently does hate Ronda Rousey, I learned that from the comments today because I don't want to do a Google search. She does have a thin skin and a fragile ego, which I still find hard to believe, given that you're in pro wrestling. You need to have if somebody with actual thin skin goes out there in front of 15,000 people and they start booing you, you cry and crap your pants and you run home.
It seems like there's been
you can't even get out
a couple
there.
Instances where that's been close to happening. But anyways, continue.
I don't know. So I don't know. I wonder if this was, hey, if I'm going to tap out, if everybody's reading the writing on the wall and they're going to boo me and I'm the bad guy, I might as well go all the way with it. kind of make Charlotte irrelevant, but I'm going to go all the way with it. And if they're going to boo me, I'm going to give them a reason to boo me.
Yeah, but if they're going to go all the way with it, she's a no-sell everybody's offense.
Well, then that's just too much of a. I mean, I get the idea of this. It's supposed to make it look like when Becky wins, it's a shoot. It's a shoot.
Yeah,
win.
No, but they're only going halfway with this. Then, if that's the case, if she's saying, "Oh, it's scripted, it's bogus, it's fake," I'm not going to protect kayfabe.
What would be going full way, all the way?
She completely no-sell any offense they made us to her.
Yeah, but
and she'd shoot win matches.
WWE. Look, I'm not going to sit here and defend the creative completely, but I think we've seen, and I've never been a huge fan of the Brock Lesnar thing.
They at least try to be at times somewhat creative, dancing around the idea, some of these ideas without straight up saying it, and that I appreciate because it adds a layer to the story. This is like when it's a. For me, it's the show don't tell scenario. With Brock, they show, hey, look, he's legit. He can kick anybody's ass.
Yeah.
And this is just, well, I can kick anybody's ass. I don't care about kayfabe. I'm going to disrespect your industry. Yeah. All that kind of stuff.
I mean, whether you think, I'm not going to say that this is like completely, oh, this is great. This is awesome creative. I see what they're doing.
Yeah, me too.
And I kind of halfway applaud them for having the balls to do it. Although it'll be interesting. I mean, maybe later on today we'll get a report that says WWE's supremely pissed off at Ronda Rousey for doing this. We don't know. We don't know.
But even that you have to take with a grain of salt these days.
Yeah.
Let's answer this. Let's talk about this last point about WrestleMania, because I had two thoughts about this, and I understand your point about her turning heel. People are going to boo. And in the end, if she does end up tapping into Becky after saying all this, it's going to make Becky look like $1 million. Ronda, not so much, but Becky, $1 million. Flip side of that is they do all this, and not that she goes all in on no selling opponent's offense and acts like she is shoot winning matches. But they set this up so at Mania, if she goes out there, she wants to stick around more, makes Charlotte tap. Mm-hmm. She wins the match at Mania. Becky doesn't lose though, and they push on so they can get a one-on-one match between the two of them, say at SummerSlam or something like that.
Yeah,
that's also a distinct possibility. Just reading this saying the result of the Mania match will depend largely on when Ronda's done with the company.
That's a possibility. You can also maybe read it as,
and then also so because right now Ronda has a month to get a ton of heel heat. Mm-hmm. Which I guess if they keep doing stuff might be possible.
They kind of just did that.
No, I know.
They kind of I think they just did that.
Like when I watched this, I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. It's blatantly transparent what they're doing. But I know even though she says I don't respect kayfabe, this is all an act.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't really affect me to any. I told you that it kind of felt like she has X-Pac heat now after watching this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that
But anyways.
I think that people. I mean, I don't know. I think it's different. It's interesting. I don't know. It's a lot of things, and it's getting a big response, and that's what they want. And I do think that with this, I'm curious about Monday. I'm curious to see how she's gonna be painted on Monday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks, I don't know. But I like that. I think that's good.
It's good. It's good. It's good when people are talking.
And everybody was talking about. We rarely do these emergency ones anymore. Everybody was talking about this, and I think that only gives it a lot of heat. And I think I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, I don't think it necessarily
is.
Sorry,
hold on. Everybody on Twitter that's claiming, oh yeah, I've tuned out. I can't take this. They're all going to be watching, and they're all going to want to see Ronda get her ass beat.
Sometimes WWE goes too far in the direction of getting heat for heat's sake. Sometimes.
Well, I would rather them try to push the envelope than.
Oh, I know, I agree, but I think part of the reason they might have, if they were to have Ronda win a Mania, beyond just capitalizing on her mainstream crossover appeal, is they'd probably feel like, well, there's more heat to be gathered here. So
let me ask you something.
If in 4 months Becky beats her at SummerSlam in a 1-on-1 match, the pop would be larger or something like that, disregarding the idea that Mania is kind of a special event. If
we find out the day before Mania or the day of Mania, or even while we're watching the show, if the Universal title match hasn't gone on yet, and they're about to, and then they start running the video package for Rousey versus Becky, that basically means Ronda's going to win, right?
Yep.
I would think so.
Yep.
If that main event's the show, Becky's going to win.
Yeah, you think so.
If it
doesn't, if the Universal title match main events, then
Ronda's sticking around. She's going to win, and the crowd is going to crap all over it.
100%.
But I don't know. I'm interested
because this is last year. We thought, oh yeah, Roman's going to beat Brock at Mania. Didn't happen. All right, well, greatest Rumble then for sure. Nope.
Yeah, right. They do that.
That sometimes.
Vince just loves.
He's stubborn. He likes to get heat for heat's sake sometimes,
and defy the expectations,
whether it makes sense storyline wise.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I have some trepidation about like all these things.
Yeah.
Because I just read something online. I don't remember where it was about Mania, whether if it's Daniel Bryan versus Kofi. Whether Daniel, I think it might have been the newsletter, Daniel Bryan might retain just to build more heat on him, which I understand. At a certain point, though, there's also narrative structure that, to a certain extent, probably could be adhered to give some fans some sense of satisfaction in the product they're watching.
Yeah.
So there's a balance there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The problem with that is Vince doesn't see. I don't think Vince really thinks too much of the legacy title anymore. So, I mean,
I don't know, man.
It's what's fascinating to me. This is a complete tangent. The fact that Daniel Bryan, they have been so. If you look back at the fact that they had hired Daniel Bryan in 2001 and brought him back so many times and really seemed to, and yet he sort of defies everything about WWE. Like his story. Because I was playing the 2K showcase mode.
Yeah.
And when you look at it just through the lens of him talking about it, it's like, man, they really have. They have done everything they could to keep their hands on Daniel Bryan. Little Daniel, like he's like,
I know.
It's kind of interesting to me. I don't know. So anyways, let us know what you guys think in the comments. I'm sure people have lots and lots and lots of opinions about this.
Yeah.
Twitter is blowing up.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyways, and right now, if you're watching this right now, as soon as it goes up, we are over on the twitch.tv/Steven Larson. We're doing We Book Fastlane.
True.
All tag team action.
We are.
But it should be a lot of fun.
It will be.
Till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steven Larson. Starting at $1 a month, you can enjoy Going In Raw ad-free, gain access to the daily 30-minute Going In Raw post-show, exclusive merchandise, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.